I feel the most cared for by others simply just being in their presence. I think there's something really special and unique about just being able to be accompanied by someone and just feeling like nothing else matters. Like I can just hang out with my friends and like that's good enough. I don't have to worry about what's coming next.
I would appreciate it if like even something as small as like pull up on me, regular conversation, it get a, like coffee and we just do nothing but vibe. I feel like that's good for me. I feel like that's what I would need, because I feel like if I receive anything that's out of the person's character, I feel like it's not going to be as organic as it would be if you were just pull up and be yourself. You know what I'm saying? I want to feel like no matter what I'm going through, it's not going to affect the way you like talk to me and like, care about me regardless of what I'm doing, you know what I mean?
Just showing up for me. I think that often I can fall into this mind trap of feeling like a burden or too much for some people, and it's really, really hard for me to ask for help or ask for care or just extend anything to a friend or someone that I know and be like, hey, like, not doing okay. Can you please, like, scoop me or hear me out? Just because I don't want to ever be a burden to someone. So I think just being there and listening and especially validating my feelings is the best way for someone to care for me, especially when I forget to do that for myself.
Just lend an ear, because you can't go and fix people's problems for them, and I accept that, but you can help them vocalize a lot of things, and that sometimes will help them fix their own problems and start working those things out in front of them instead of inside of them. Get it out of their heads. So
Like a reassurance, I feel like, but not fake reassurance. I want like actual reassurance. Like don't gas me up too much, but like give me actual reassurance. Like let's say I'm panicking about like school or something, work, whatever. You know, be like, some even just a comment like, oh, it's what we've been working for. You've come such a long way. Da 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 da. Too calm. That's all I need.
Make sure that I'm eating, that I'm working out, that my mental state is okay or at a decent level, and that if I'm down in the ruts or don't seem mentally stable, we do activities that would be like self care, washing my hair, doing stuff like that, maybe playing some basketball. Always love things like that.
I forget to take care of myself a lot when I'm busy making sure other people's needs are being met. So I would love when people cook for me or bring me coffee or give me a glass of water or even put on one of my favorite shows. That's my comfort show. And that's in a way make me feel way better with my mental health and remind me that taking care of myself is important.
To remind me to eat or to give me space to rest and to remind me to rest because I don't remember that part. I don't remember that I need to take a break. And I get myself so worked up and overstressed and forget that my body has a right over me and has a right to relax and a right to rest and that I need to recharge.
Making me a cup of tea, making me food, just things like that.
And, just sending love, tell me you're proud of me, tell me you love me, give me a hug, if you're someone close to me, give me a kiss. You know what I mean? Like, basic things, I guess.
I definitely don't feel I have the necessary tools to deal with a mental health crisis should I or someone else be affected. I've been in multiple situations where I was forced to sort of navigate those circumstances without having the proper tools, and the other person certainly didn't have the proper tools to like convey to me how they were feeling. So it definitely put a strain on not only their mental health, the person that was suffering, but also our relationship, because it was really, really hard to come back from that.
I feel like I'm prepared, but I feel like I'm not as prepared as I think I am.
I would say yes. Um, Therapy has helped me feel confident about being able to support someone or support myself in a situation where just break down. It happens. And then there's a threshold, I guess, where you have to understand if somebody's a danger to themselves or a danger to people around them. Then you unfortunately have to call somebody, and that's a painful thing to do, but it's the safest thing to do. You know.
Over the years, I've been battling my own mental issues, and I believe I reached a point where I know how to handle myself when I'm in those situations and I know how to bounce back. As that being said, that's only a pattern that works for me.
I unfortunately have had to handle several mental health crises in my lifetime with close friends, with people I've lived with. So, short answer is yes, because I've been through it before. But the longer form answer is other than exposure, I think being well read on mental health and also working on my own, going to therapy, really doing the work to not just understand your own problems, but how other people are affected by problems and how other people can respond to things is really critical because not everybody's going to think like you. And being able to help others means having that empathy and being able to understand that people are going to react to things differently than you do.
Yes, but overall, not really.
And I know dealing with women in crisis through my own job, how to at least try to calm the situation um, in my own home a little bit. The only problem is when I am one of the people who is in crisis or involved in the situation. That's when it can get away from me.
I think the best way to care for myself after witnessing a mental health crisis is to take a minute to reflect. I think sometimes I forget how other people's emotions can take a toll on me.
I think for bystanders and people who witness mental health crises, there's very little attention to address that. We have the same issue, which has actually recently been brought up, for surgeons who fall into becoming the second victim as the person who is involved in a medical error. The focus always goes to the victim of the error, to the patient, but we never address the surgeon and what the surgeon may be feeling in being a part of the team involved in that surgical or medical error. And being a bystander in a health crisis is the same thing. You're a secondhand victim, and we don't really pay attention to that person at all, even though I think it's a critical thing. It's a critical event for that person, because now that person's seen something, witnessed something, and has to process it and be ready to deal with it, and may need assistance dealing with it.
So, I can actually use my own experience to answer this question. I think the number one thing that happens when you're a bystander, especially when you witness a mental health crisis happening to someone you love, a close friend, whomever, you automatically feel the urge to blame yourself. I should have been there for them more. I shouldn't have declined their call that one time. I should have tried to get them help sooner. Maybe I should have told their mom or their friend or whomever. Like it's just human nature to find ways to blame ourselves when we're seeing something that is out of our control, but I think the most important thing you can do is be extremely empathetic towards yourself. It is not your fault. You have to remind yourself that 150,000 times if that's what it takes, because nobody else's life is your responsibility.
After witnessing a mental health crisis, I tend to leave it also feeling a little bit shook. So I like to go home or to any of my safe spaces and just enjoy some of the activities that make me feel safe, watching a show, knitting, taking a bath, doing my nails, something that allows me to physically take care of myself, usually also allows me to take care of myself mentally.
I think that a great coping mechanism is just distraction. Not to ignore problems, but just to sort of put them into perspective. Once things immediately happen, especially for me, I feel that they're entirely raw. So to just live in it immediately afterwards is painful and dangerous. So I feel that watching TV or reading a book or going for a walk or like hanging out with different friends or whatever and like just not talking about it makes me feel a lot better. And then when I am ready to address it, probably in a day or two, I talk about it with um, someone that's like a trained professional who I consider my therapist, or I'll go for a long walk and write about it. But I think the first step for me is definitely to distract myself and not think about it immediately once the crisis is sort of handled.
I think check in on yourself. I think that would be like the one easiest thing that you can do for yourself, and then also probably one of the smartest is just check in on yourself and make sure that you're okay. Um, because seeing somebody in a state of mind like that often will trigger things within ourselves.
Doing a simple check-in, reflecting, making sure that I am where I need to be, not where I want to be. In terms of mental health, am I taking care of my physicality? Am I taking care of my mental health? What about my emotional health? Is everything being expressed correctly, or am I suppressing it to make myself feel better?
Relaxing, taking time for myself to process everything that I saw or witnessed or had to participate in, I guess. Usually what I'd do is I'd sit down, draw, just relax, get something to drink.
I would probably say same thing as if I was to be panicking and stuff. I would probably say, call somebody that I that I that I love and just go outside and do what we normally do. Drink some coffee, go for a drive, do nothing but talk.
Conversations are healing, you know?
I would say that in most recent years, mental health has definitely looked like a roller coaster. Um, I think that some people are more open to learning more about mental health now, which is very good.
Even though as a collective we are not doing well, we are more determined than ever to make a change. I think especially people who are in Gen Z have been opening up some really important and critical conversations about mental health that did not exist before.
Men are told that they shouldn't be as emotional as women, but I feel like we're headed in a direction where uh, everybody or like people are starting to recognize that mental health is for everybody and not just like a certain group of people or even like anything to do with race, gender, all that. Like it's for every single person. I feel like we're moving in that direction, but I still feel like there's like a lot of improvement left.
Um, I personally would feel more comfortable just with my community and just happier to be involved, knowing that the people surrounding me are aiming to become more emotionally intelligent. I feel like that's a selfless thing to do, and it kind of shows a solidarity from person to person. And I feel like that would benefit a community so much. It'd be nice for people to think that the person next to them is somebody they can rely on in an emergency.
Being prepared lessens the impact of the emergency and makes it so when it happens, it's much less catastrophic than if you weren't prepared.
Mental health is something that's not really taken seriously in the African American community, one, and two, in the world in general. So I think it could save lives. It can point people in the right direction and help them understand that they're not alone.